Hello friends, welcome to Gardening with Creekside. I am Jenny and today I have a fun little project for you that I'm going to share with you rather. We are going to plant a Japanese maple. If you can see it right there where my finger is, it is a B&B Fireglow Japanese maple. I am so excited to plant this. While we're at it, and since we're back here on this gorgeous spring day, I thought I would give you an update on the perennial bed that we just planted. I added some perennials to it just a couple of weeks ago. So they are starting to show some new growth. I've got some things flowering. Wanted to give you an update on that as we make our way back here to the Fireglow. So let me flip the camera around and show you exactly all the fun things that are waking up from their winter slumber. To give you a bit of perspective of where we are, we're standing on our garage pad, and of course here we go down to the patio through our little flagstone walkway. Over here you will see I have a beautiful collection of camellias that my mama and I got at a camellia nursery. We will talk about those on another video, but they are kind of hanging out here. And then here we go down the path, and you can see that I have got some beautiful phlox that is blooming already. This was put in last year. This is not the new addition this year, but it is blooming, doing really, really well. The serendipity that you can see, my three little clumps right here, they have put on lots of new growth and they are very happy. And in fact, I think you can see, let's see if we can focus in here. Can you see that new growth that is coming on the Scentlandia? They are starting to show some signs of life for the spring summer season. So that is very exciting. All doing really well. Here we have the cat's pajamas. I was down here looking at my phlox, and the cat's pajamas has got some new growth on it, even just a couple of little buds already. Things are waking up. The daisies are doing really well right there. We're still teaching Brenna not to walk through the flower beds, but that's all right. And then look at the Generous Gardener from David Austin. Remember, I have one on each side, climbing rose. She is covered in new growth. This is a very, very happy rose. Did not care about the 19-degree night at all. Flushed out in lots of new growth. Now, what we're going to do today, the main goal for today, is to plant this Japanese maple that you can see in front of me. We had talked about when I planted the David Austins here in the landscape down all in here, that I had this hole where this Fireglow is, and I was thinking, what can I put there? We just got a shipment of some B&B trees, and of course I had to peruse and see which one might fit here, and Fireglow was it. So as far as the placement goes, I went ahead, because we have this line of the tea olives, right? So the sweet osmanthus, sweet olive, we call them tea olives here. I just went through, and so I went and put the Fireglow kind of in that same line of the tea olives. And to the left, you will see right here, we have some encore azaleas, and that's kind of hard to see, but right there is a little lime punch. We're still trialing that to see if it will turn beautiful red for us in the fall. Fireglow is going to fit perfectly here. The Fireglow is a fantastic maple for our region. Fireglow Japanese maple is really going to do well here, I think, because one of its the major thing is it can take the full sun and it can handle the heat of our North Carolina summer. So depending on the Japanese maple that you get, will have different cold hardiness, heat hardiness zones. Fireglow will do really well for us. So that is number one. It can handle the heat and humidity. Number two, the size of it is really going to do quite well. It's going to reach maybe 10 to 15 feet. I might be saying the specs wrong, but 10 to 15 feet or 10 to 12 feet in 15 years. Japanese maples are notoriously slow growers. This is not going to be like a maple tree that grows rapidly. It is going to be slow. So going here and it's more upright, it's not really wide. Again, because of the tea olives right here. I'm not worried about the hydrangea. That's a little petite hydrangea, no big deal. But Fireglow obviously gets its name from its absolutely stunning, gorgeous color. All you have to do is look at these pictures and you will know and understand the absolute beauty and appeal of this plant for its foliage and its color. So I'm super excited to add this to the landscape. It is going to be a little bit smaller if you're familiar with a bloodgood maple. It is a little bit smaller than a bloodgood, so I really think it's going to do perfectly here. Tea olives, of course, can be pruned, right? They respond really well to being pruned. So in 15, 20 years, if these two start competing against each other, I will have planned and kept my tea olives at an appropriate size away from the Fireglow. Again, not worried about that in the absolute least bit. We did get them as a B&B, so I can, and it's not a huge root ball on it, so I can manage this one by myself. So we are going to get all the cameras set up, get all my tools together, and we are going to get this Fireglow into the landscape. So I changed the position of the cameras a little bit so you could get the whole perspective of where we are. I'm literally going to move this Fireglow out of the way. I'm going to aug my hole using the power planter auger and get her in the ground. It's not going to be too terribly hard. Yeah, just the hardest part is just going to be moving her because she is heavy. That's the kind of the downside of using a B&B, is because it's grown in the native soil, so it's heavy. It's not like potting soil. So B&Bs, even though that looks like a small tree, she weighs pretty good. All right, so here we go. Just get my hole dug. All right, so I got my hole dug. I went ahead and put the tree back in the hole so that way I made sure that my hole is correct. I am going to plant this at soil level. Because this is a B&B, is used to being in the soil, I'm going to plant it soil level or just a little bit high. But because it is a B&B and it's wrapped in burlap, B&B just stands for ball and burlap, I'm going to cut the twine away, and then whatever burlap that I can cut away, I will. But because it is a natural product, it will degrade over time. So if I don't get all of that out, it is not that big of a deal. So we're just going to get all this untwined. Brenna's very curious. There we go. I do want to go ahead and show you what this looks like. So you can tell that this is the native soil, came from Oregon. So this was the native soil from that nursery. There is a thing of twine going around the ball of the roots. I gave it a little shake and the whole soil kind of loosened up. So I don't want to do that. I don't want to disturb these roots any more than they already are. So I'm going to leave that alone, but I will cut this extra burlap off around it, but what's on the bottom, I'm going to leave it because it would be more destructive for the root system for me to try to get that off, and it will decompose, the roots will grow through it, it will be fine. All right, so I got the extra burlap cut away. Gonna lift it over the tree. All right, there we go. Brenna can play with the burlap. She'll love that. I will straighten her up in just a minute. Of course, I have my biotone super important because, especially with B&Bs, they have been dug straight out of their native soil. They've obviously had some root pruning happen, and we want them to have a really nice, strong root system. So because I can't lift this out of the hole, I'm just going to sprinkle my biotone all the way around. It will be just fine. Basically, I'm just going to bring my native soil back up to it and get it in. When I did the roses, if you remember, I added some great compost. We're still in training on how to behave around shrubs and trees and gardening, so it is a process. She's only not even 6 months old yet, so we're getting there. And no biotone. Good girl. So we're bringing all the native soil back up. I will straighten her up if she needs to be straightened. So it's kind of hard to tell because the tree itself has a little bit of a curve to her. So I'm looking at my trunk here, pressing down. Because of the time of year it is, early spring, this Fireglow is starting to pop out some new foliage. This would be the optimal time to go ahead and fertilize the tree with its yearly dose of slow release fertilizer. I didn't know what Japanese maples needed, so I just went to my Professor Google, what Espoma product is best for Japanese maples. Turns out that on the Espoma website, you can type in or search for your plant and it will tell you exactly what is the best tone to use for your plant. So I thought that was fantastic because obviously we use a lot of the Espoma products, right? Fantastic, wonderful stuff. I just didn't know, should I use plant tone? Should I use holly tone? According to Espoma, they recommend holly tone. So I have my holly tone right here with me. Have it. So I'm going to go ahead and apply that around basically the drip line, the base of the tree, and then I do have a little bit of mulch in a tub I'm going to put on top. Remember, we're going to come back through here and run irrigation to everybody. This whole entire area is going to get fresh mulch pretty soon, within the next hopefully 2 weeks. So I will come back and she'll get another nice thick layer of mulch, but for now this will do, and it will help hold in some moisture. This time in North Carolina, we're getting rain all the time. The soil is nice and moist. We're going to get lots of rain tomorrow, but I might go ahead and give it a nice drink of water since it was shipped from Oregon. Although the soil felt pretty damp, it never hurts to give it a little bit of drink of water. So I'm just going to take my holly tone and do a little shaky all the way around to give it some nice food. Now, when you have a B&B product, it is going to take a year or two for those roots to come back and get really established and strong in your system. Nope. So Brenna is discovering, good girl, is discovering the tones, and so I am not letting her eat them, because if you have a dog, you know how that's just a never-ending cycle on that. I did have some land and sea, but like I said, since this area does have nice good compost from when I did my David Alston's, I'm just gonna skip the land and sea this time because I already have fresh compost in the bed. Okay, the only thing left to do is to unbind her and see how she flows out. right, my friends, we have got a fantastic Japanese maple in the landscape. Super excited about this. We don't have a Japanese maple in our garden yet. So this is the first one. Again, really excited about this. It is going to be more upright than wide, so it will fill in this area. Just absolutely gorgeous. Give me lots of beautiful early summer all the way through a fall color here. It will contrast beautifully against the tea olives, the roses that are basically right underneath my feet here. It's gonna be a great one. Super, super excited about this, and it already has some new growth on it that is a lot of fun. We know it's a very happy tree. I think it's going to be very happy in its new North Carolina home. So if you're interested or thinking about adding a Japanese maple to your garden, make sure that you are checking the mature size on it, the sun requirements, and then basically your zones. Make sure that you've got plenty of both the heat and the cold tolerance, and that you find the right one. Because if you find the right Japanese maple for your yard, it will be spectacular and give you years and years and years of enjoyment. As always, thanks so much for gardening with Creekside. Y'all have a fabulous day, and we'll see you in the next video. Bye, my friends.